beer, it's good for you.
Hello and welcome to the video. In this guide I will be taking you through all of the steps required to understand and brew my very tried and tested recipe for a Belgian brown ale. After all the steps I will then show you the end beer and give my tasting notes. So let's get started. Here is a sneak preview of this beer's vital statistics, which I will explain fully later. This recipe, like all of my shared recipes, is written by me and can be found in full written form within this video's description, which is underneath the video window when viewed on a desktop computer. You will also find within this a link to the full recipe on Brewhouse, which can be used free of charge with some restrictions. Your first steps before brewing this recipe will be to convert the recipe before ordering in your ingredients. I have an easy guide to doing this on Brewhouse on my channel as shown on screen now. Within this video, this recipe is being brewed using a Grainfather S40 to the volume of 19 litres, or approximately 5 US liquid gallons, but as part of this conversion process this can be shaped to suit your own brewing system or method. Recipe conversion is an essential part of the process for the intended results. You should also plan your water profile ahead. I am purposefully keeping a massive topic simple because when it comes to Belgian beer styles there is much debate and discussion. In the end it is all opinion, which is taste bud related. Quite a few brewers would personally prefer a balanced water profile, an example of which is shown on screen from Brewhouse, which is where I personally go with this recipe. However, there is no single general consensus here and there are many directions that you can go in. By all means look at water profiles for Westmalle or Chimay and others in Belgium if you are looking to be very authentic to a particular Belgian taste. Ultimately I suggest that you experiment here over time, trying the various different ways to go before you formulate your own opinion, which of course in the end for everyone needs to be based on their own taste. Okay, let's get brewing. Here I am using the Grainfather S40 brewing system, but this recipe can be used with any brewing equipment via conversion as mentioned earlier. Our brew starts by the doughing in process as it is known. This doughing in process is very important to get right as it will impact the rest of your brew. Here we are adding our grain gradually into the preheated strike water, being sure to stir as we go. Also it is important to stir in and break up the grain, ensuring that you have no clumps and that all of the grain is wet. Shown on screen now is the mash profile for this recipe. Our first mash step is a little lower in temperature than you will see in some Belgian beer recipes, though when it comes to the Belgian brown style this can be a really mixed bag. During my testing and development of this recipe, this chosen flavour profile, when mashed at higher temperatures, gave an end result that was too sweet for the average taste palate. Naturally I'm looking for my shared recipes to be real crowd pleasers, but if you want a much sweeter beer then by all means try this at a higher mash temperature. At this level it was still on the sweet side though, so if you're looking to avoid that totally then I recommend mashing between 60 to 62 degrees Celsius or between 140 to 144 degrees Fahrenheit. What I'm offering here is a happy medium as such. Let's now look at the recipe. As you can see this one has an ABV of 6% along with a BU-GU ratio that is nicely in the middle for alcohol to bitterness. With a final gravity of 1.016 this is certainly not a dry beer as we recently discussed. At 73% of this grain bill our main fermentable is Pilsner malt, which provides a light and crisp canvas for the rest of our flavours to jump out from. Do not be tempted to go for a floor malted Pilsner malt here, we want this grain's flavour contribution to be very light. Let's now look at where the grain flavour is coming from. At 8% we have Aromatic malt, which will provide a very pronounced malty flavour along with a little dark fruit with a warm level of honey aroma. Furthermore, at 7% we have Special B Malt, which adds in complex flavours and aromas that are made up of caramel, along with more subtle notes of dark fruit. Then at 5% we have dark candy sugar, which will add in further dark fruit flavours, but is also used to raise alcohol without adding more body. This is key to this recipe's success and should not be substituted for regular sugar. I know that some are adverse to candy sugar because of its added cost, but this recipe will be cheaper than even a basic modern day IPA. Our candy sugar is added during the boil, not the mash, so I will cover this in the boil section in more detail. Then at 5% we have crystal malt, which is rated at 50 EBC for colour. The core reason for crystal within this recipe is for its unfermentable sugars that will raise the body of the beer. You will also gain some caramel flavours that in some cases will be a little nutty too. Then finally at 2% we have chocolate malt that is dehusked. If you can obtain it, then I recommend Weyermann's Carafa Special Malt, which is mentioned in my recipe. It is important that these flavours are not astringent, so whichever maltster you go for, try and obtain a dehusked version. If this is not possible, then I suggest introducing this grain in the last 10 minutes of your mash. There is no need to do this with the rest of the grain in this recipe though. Our chocolate malt is adding in colour as well as some light chocolate and coffee flavours into the background. After both mash in and mash out steps, I then moved on to my sparge. This was done manually with water at 75 degrees Celsius, which is the equivalent of 167 degrees Fahrenheit. Not only does this step top up our liquid volume ready for our boil, but it also washes through the remaining sugars held within our grain, so it is important to cover the entire grain bed. Moving on to the boil now, and our first task is to stir in the foam found at the top of the wort. This is mostly protein and it is important to keep it within the brew rather than removing it, as it is part of the end beer. This is also a vital step to avoid a boil over. As an alternative, you may use a product known as firm cap, which is added at the start of the boil. Personally, I enjoy doing this manually. There is something rather satisfying about this step, for me at least. Let me know what you think in the comment section of this video. Here is some further information shown on screen relating to the boil of this recipe. This recipe is in keeping with my preference for a 30-minute boil, as you can see. In terms of hops, I am using Magnum for bittering, which due to its high alpha acid content is still a small amount of hops. I especially enjoy the use of Magnum for European beer styles that demand a very clean bitterness like this one. Then at 5 minutes to the end of the boil, I have a small amount of Saaz for flavour and aroma. At this level with Saaz in this recipe, this will add a subtle background floral and spice. Let's now look at the easiest way to deal with our candy sugar, which is by using a hop spider. The reason for this is that if we simply add the sugars directly to the brewing system, there is a fair chance that they could burn on the bottom, even if we stir them in. Not only will this spoil the flavour, but it will also make cleanup harder. Once your candy sugar is in your hop spider, it will slowly boil down and amalgamate with the rest of your wort. After a while of boiling, check to see that this is dissolved fully before removing the spider. You can add your candy sugar at any point of the boil, though my preference flavour-wise is adding fairly late. Before the end of the boil, I added the S40's immersion chiller to the boiling wort to sanitize it ready for cooling. During the cooling stage, I gave the immersion chiller lots of stirring movements in the wort to speed up the cooling process. This works really well and can save you time. There are also benefits to faster cooling in terms of wort clarity, as this will increase the amount of solids left behind in the brewing system, resulting in a clearer wort from the start. It is also good to get some exercise in where you can, and the added steam felt rather like being in a healthy sauna too. Once our wort temperature was around 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit, I then started to transfer it into my fermenter. I used the S40's pump to do this via the recirculation arm, which gave a nice level of flow, as you can see, though the white foam that you see here is foam from my no-rinse sanitizer. Once a fair amount of transfer had taken place, I then added my yeast of choice for this recipe, which is T58 from Fermentis. This yeast offers a high amount of esters, which include banana and clove, along with some peppery notes that really fit in nicely for this recipe. This is not to say that other Belgian yeast will not work with this recipe, because it certainly will. I suggest yeast selection that offers fruity and spicy flavourings though, like Lallemand Abbey for example. Let's now look at the fermentation schedule. You will note that I mention a regular fermentation here rather than one using pressure. This is because we simply need the flavours and aromas from our yeast, and pressure fermentation will negate that. However, this is all created in the first 3 to 4 days of fermentation, so if you wish you can apply pressure after this point. On screen I show 2 temperatures. The first in blue is where I suggest being for the first 5 to 7 days of fermentation, and then I suggest heading for the temperature in red over a period of 3 days, meaning 1 degree Celsius per day. This temperature is then to be held until you have 3 to 4 days at a constant final gravity. You then know it's done. Let's now give the finished beer a pour and go through some tasting notes. At this point, this beer is about 1 month old and has been stored at 5 degrees Celsius under pressure at just over 1 bar, which is higher than I usually go for carbonation. I simply prefer this style with a little more, as you can see from this pour. In terms of conditioning time, I suggest first trying it after 1 month, but it may take some more weeks to come into prime state. Before we move on, one common question is why the Belgian brown is often black. The simple fact is that it really is brown, as you saw from the early pour, but once it sits into a glass, often it's dark enough to appear black, or at least very dark. Let's now move on to my tasting notes, starting with aroma. The main aspect from the aroma of this beer is a complex mix of rich malt with notes of dark fruit and caramel. In terms of flavour, on entry this is unmistakably Belgian, with a very complex mix of rich malt and dark fruit that carries a pleasant note of caramels on the finish, which is very well rounded with a clean level of sweetness. This flavour mixed with the sweetness certainly tastes very indulgent. This particular Belgian brown ale is quite high on fruit, which when combined with the rich maltiness and sweet caramel becomes almost like an old traditional fruit cake within certain sips. Another aspect of this beer, like many examples of Belgian beer, is that the taste changes as you go further down the glass. As an overall impression, this is an indulgent Belgian brown ale that is more old school than some more modern examples of the style due to all of that rich flavour that this packs. This makes this 6% ABV beer feel like a stronger beer all the way through its experience. If you do brew this, then I would be very interested to hear any feedback on how much you enjoyed this beer. Certainly those that have tasted at my end here in Norway have loved it. I do hope that you found this video useful, informative and interesting. If so, why not consider liking and subscribing? For further support you can join the channel's Facebook group, and if you would like to support the channel then check out the channel's merchandise store, as all profits go back into the channel. Until next time, happy brewing!